I told you. It's raining. That's unbelievable. Oh. NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
HAARP can create low-pressure and high-pressure systems at will that can create hurricanes, tornadoes, and rainfall and steer them to any place on the planet.
You know, they were talking about climate change yesterday, and now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they did not get into this discussion, though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really, to change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky.
We physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky.
What?
You're not my dad! You also hear something! Ugly ass fucking noodle!
To actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
But this is experimental.
We physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental, however, in the laboratory so far it works. We physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky.
Wildlife!
Fuck off!
When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles.
Hello, I'm Brian Frangie, host of the Unbelievable Podcast, and this is the HAARP conspiracy theory explained in less than 2 minutes.
We physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky.
HAARP, aka the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, is a government-funded 180 antenna array located in Gacona, Alaska, that shoots powerful beams of radio frequency into the sky to study the ionosphere. HAARP is officially designated as a harmless scientific research facility, but is secretly being used to jam communication systems, create devastating military weapons, control the weather, affect our moods, change our mental states, and control our mind. It also acts as a heater that microwaves the ionosphere, creating high-pressure areas that pull up the stratosphere, potentially destroying satellites, meteors, and missiles while simultaneously displacing the jet stream. Using this technology in conjunction with other ionospheric heaters around the world, HAARP can create low-pressure and high-pressure systems at will that can create hurricanes, tornadoes, and rainfall and steer them to any place on the planet. Additionally, utilizing HAARP's Earth-penetrating tomography, high-energy electromagnetic pulses can be shot into the ground, accelerating the release of energy stored in the crust, creating earthquakes. Using HAARP in this way, the government, in conjunction with large corporations, were able to manufacture Hurricane Sandy, Hurricane Katrina, the Fukushima disaster, the earthquake in Haiti, and profit off the destruction by investing in weather derivatives and catastrophe reinsurance. HAARP's mind control works by shooting extremely low-frequency waves into our brains that harmonize with specific predetermined chemicals to amplify their potency and produce desired mental states that can range from fear of the dark to extreme complacency. The government disperses the chemicals needed to create a desired mental state ahead of time using chemtrails or contaminating our food and water supply. Using mind control in conjunction with weather manipulation, satellite destruction, and catastrophic devastation of our food and energy supplies creates a helpless, hungry, complacent population completely and utterly subservient to the power elite. The U.S. Air Force is officially shutting down HAARP in 2014. However, it is leaving open the possibility of transferring control of the facility to private interests. There are many other ionospheric heaters located throughout the world, including new portable versions which allow the government to continue its work from anywhere on Earth.
Bringing down rain and even lightning.
Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right? Alleged to, right? Alleged to, right?
Why the fuck you lying?
Yeah.
Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control.
Great job.
But nothing conclusive. This time we're bringing in the laws of physics rather than simply waving our hands and uttering mumbo jumbo. We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now.
NASA's playing God.
And in the laboratory, sure enough, they precipitate rain out of water vapor. Sure enough, you can actually bring down electricity down the beam.
So what does it mean for drought areas that need to have rain for crops, and if they don't have them, there's the consequences of famine?
Oh, wait.
What are you doing?
Saving your life.
Well, the bad news is if it's a clear blue sky, it's not going to do anything at all because it only takes water vapor that's already in the air and condenses it.
Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And as it turns out, the cleanest.
Now, the most amazing thing is that that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you. It's raining. That's unbelievable. Oh. NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
However, for floods, for agriculture, farmers, for people planning wedding parties, football games, you name it, outdoor events and agriculture and flooding and even hurricanes, all of them could be subject to weather modification.
All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
While I'm
Fuck off.